The gorillas, bro.
Look at these clowns. Alright, listen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another show. It's Grown Arse Men in the building. Make some noise. Let's get them energy levels up. Right, listen, you'll probably notice slight technical hitch, but listen, we can't really kind of delve too much into that. Yeah, but we are live on camera.
I'm sorry.
All right, someone's actually taking it. Right, he's taking the L. That's Meek Mill over there, yeah? All right, shout out to Meek. All right, listen, before we get going, let me introduce who we got in the building. We're going to start from my left, which is your right. Man them.
Same as always, rakes. African doing. Money making G Banks in the building. Man is gas. Mr. D, Fender. Yeah, you know how it goes.
And obviously you got myself, man like John Cena back in the building. Yeah, you can't see me, yeah? All right, listen. Today is episode 7. The topic that we're going to be speaking about in the first show is, it was actually an incident that happened in Lewisham, I believe, or in the Lewisham Borough.
Blue Borough.
Yeah, shout out Blue Borough. But it is the incident involving 30 kids from school attacking, or said to be attacking, 2 police officers. Right. There was a video that was kind of let out. I don't know if it's kind of gone viral or whatever it is. Hopefully everyone's seen it, so we want to get some comments today. From what it seemed to me, it was 30, inverted commas, black children who attacked these 2 police officers who just happened to be white. So, who wants to kind of kick this one up? I saw a little hand up.
Sorry.
Man like Nick.
Before we start, not everyone's got a drink.
There is one thing missing from this table.
Hey, whoa.
Bear with me. Let me just focus.
Whoa, what's going on?
All right, listen.
I've got a drink. I don't know about anybody else in this group, but Anyone that's I've got a drink. Anyone that saw last week's show?
Why you ain't got a drink?
Everyone's got a drink.
Alright.
All right, well, listen.
Someone get away the drink, please.
John Cena sorted you out, yeah? Here we go. That's on you, lad. All right, cool. Listen, we've just been told by Ness, you lot were late. Yeah, I can't say y'all. I can't say that like, you know, she put y'all out there, American slang.
Sorry.
You all were late, and yes, we were. So we apologise, but obviously we're glad to kind of have you here with us. Who wants to kick off this topic? 30 kids, school children attacking 2 police officers.
I'll start off.
Talk to me, man.
Just the terminology in itself, attacking, it's been dramatised, just a smidgen. Anyone that's seen the video, will know that they didn't attack. All they done, for me, was defend their friend, If their friend's being wrongly, or not even wrongly or rightly, if their friend's being, if excessive force is being used to manhandle their friend, even at 15, I think it's right that your friends back you, and it doesn't matter who it is, And for me, the children did nothing too much wrong.
Mr. D.
I'm in agreement. Haven't watched the video clip. I'm in agreement. I think it's been sensationalized dramatically. I don't think they attacked the police officer, but in response to what Nick said, backing your friend as a 15-year-old against other 15-year-olds or other people out there is different to backing your friend against the police. Do you know what I mean? You're only going to lose if you try and back your friend against the police. You're only going to lose. There's only going to be. It's not going to end in a nice way for you. You're either going to go to prison or you're going to get your head bust.
Sorry.
Is that right to be telling the children to back your friend in that situation?
I will give you guys a chance to speak. Sorry, guys. For me, kids growing up in a generation where every week they're seeing different black men get killed by the police, and that whether it's here or in the States, they're seeing that every single week. I think for me, I'm not letting my friend be that next person there. So if I can see already where they're being put in a situation that's similar, I'm gonna do what I can to avoid it. And my hat's off to those kids.
Yeah, blatantly.
Whilst I understand where Nicholas is coming from with regards to a lot of young black men dying in America, so to speak, but I don't think I want my child doing what I saw on that video clip. There is a duty of friendship where you have to look after your friends. I totally understand that. And as Darren said, you do support your friends against other people, but not against those who are supposed to be controlling and supporting the law. I don't want my kids, at no point for me to have to go down to a police station and pick them up and they tell me, well, I was backing my friend, so I decided to jump on top of a police officer and pull him off. It's not the
So you should sit there and watch your friend get arrested, or you know, does it matter whether your friend was in the right or the wrong? Does that play a part on whether you should, you know, kind of back it?
Whilst, like I said, I totally understand what they're saying, but for me, my child is not to be putting themselves in a position where they can be arrested for something that doesn't really concern them. You can speak all you like. You can record it, you can do anything you need to do, but do not put your hands on officers of the law, yeah? Because at the end of the day, like Darren said, it's only going to end one way.
So is it a respect issue?
Pardon me? Yes, you have to respect authority.
Because generally these days, I don't think the youth have enough respect for elders or people of authority. Back when we were growing up, if there was that kind of madness, if anything, what I would have expected is my boys to get me out of that, or they would have come to stop it. To actually end up in the commotion that happened, that's not.
The policeman had it pinned to the car, you know? Like, this isn't... Sorry.
Let him finish. I'm just saying, let him finish. Like Dwayne said, I don't want to see my son on camera with 29 other guys surrounding police officers in that way. Yes, get your friend out of whatever situation they need to, but it should never get to the point where you're seen as 30 guys beating up two people.
I'm with you. I don't want to see my son on camera doing that, but I'd rather see him on camera doing that than see my son in a body bag down the walk. Yeah, and I'm not allowing my son to be that victim.
G, talk to us, man.
I'll keep it 100. Fuck the police, and I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck.
Bro, why is it every day, every time we go on, you've got one line that stands out?
Fuck the police, man. I catted that from NWA. You could hold that. Now, I'm sorry, you lot decided like Popo. Don't ever talk or ever touch any member of the law. Sounds like Popo. Sorry, he said it. You sound like Popo with that talk there. I'm telling you. Let me tell you something. Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't want to say it. I wasn't going to say it on the show. But someone sounds like Popo. Look, the way I see it is that, you know what? Is that you look after your people no matter what, no matter who it is. Just because someone's in a uniform doesn't mean that they have the rights to be grabbing up anybody. Anybody. They listen. Did you see the way they dragged up the little boy?
What I'm saying is, I'm saying the protection is one thing. I'm just saying the means that you go to do that can be different. That's what I'm saying.
All right, listen. Just to give a little bit of a background to the story as well, and some of the things that I've heard. Apparently, the whole case is still under investigation. There's been one boy arrested who is actually on bail at the moment, but apparently it was an arranged school fight that basically kind of went viral on social media. The police got wind of it and obviously turned up to try and stop the boy. But just before I let anyone kind of interject, there was also it was also said that the boy had a large knife on him. It was said, I don't know whether this is true or not, but I don't know whether that's going to pay any difference to obviously people's thoughts. Just before I obviously let the guys speak, I need to obviously read out some of these comments. Thanks, guys, again for joining us. Right. Members. I've got one here from Layla. I reckon they provoked the kids, but it shouldn't have needed 30 kids to go for the police officers. However, I think the police had no right to bully a child.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right. That's one thing. Just let me carry on and say a couple more. Dre has said, I haven't seen the video, but was it excessive force or necessary force?
Excessive.
Let me finish it off. I don't think we can defend these kids when they're up against the police, not in this situation anyway. And if I'm going to be totally honest with you, Dre, I applaud that, because from what I've seen from the video, I don't know the full story. I can't defend those kids. I'm sorry. Like, I don't agree with it.
That can't be Dr. Dre, because Dr. Dre would have said.
Hey, listen, shout out Dre Paranda, yeah?
No, what I'm saying though is, and in response to, I think it was Nick who said the comments about wanting to see your child, obviously, supporting his friends in that circumstance. I can't agree with that, bro. I can't agree with that. Simply because, like, we need to teach our children how to fight against the system in the correct way, innit? And the correct way is not going and putting your hands on police. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen the video, and from what I've seen of it, it's foolishness. There wasn't no attack. But my son or my daughter in that situation, I'm going to give them hell, because I'm saying you should not be involving yourself. I don't care if that's your best friend out there. Don't involve yourself in a situation where that means you can then get taken to prison, because then I'm going to have to come down and I'm going to have to sort getting you out. Yeah? And then you're going to be tarred with a reputation as being been a troublesome teenager or whatever it is.
Gang affiliated.
Yeah, gang affiliated, and all for what? For trying to support your brethren.
Okay.
Of course, support your brethren. Once again, of course, support your brethren. I'm not saying that, but we have to teach our children how to support their friends, or to go against the system or the police. Sorry, in the right way.
Yes,
in the right way.
And I agree.
Yeah, I
with
think
that.
that's a key point in the right way. Go on,
which,
Nick.
which is good, and I agree with that. In this circumstance, there wasn't time for
Right way.
right way, wrong way, writing letters to MPs and all that stuff. There wasn't time for that. Now, just to flip it, imagine it was your son pinned on the car. Yeah, the policeman on top of him being overly using
I'm not expecting any
excess force.
I'm not-
Hold on. Yeah, and then his best friend who comes to your house every day, eats in your house, is just sitting there watching that happen. All these friends are sitting around watching while he's victimised wrongly.
Yeah, but
But what
No, it's not right.
hold on, but what am I
It's not
expecting
right.
that child who is his friend to do?
we-
Am I expecting his child
It doesn't-
to stop
listen.
him getting you know?
We have been brought up, to fear the police. Yeah, the whole system is to fear the police, and the police have taken that and ran with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Fair.
and used it to marginalise us
Yeah.
and control us. And now this new generation who don't have as much fear are fighting back. I applaud it.
All right, listen. Let me hear from the Pan African. D, what are you saying on this one?
That Nick said to me, or just said to Darren, what does how would he feel if his son's best friend allowed that to happen? I'm not going to feel any type of way towards that child. He is a child, and I don't expect him to take up battles that he cannot win.
15,
Yeah.
16
It's
years
very
old.
immature to think and expect a child to take on a battle against the police.
But they won.
It's ridiculous. They did not win.
Nah, listen. I think that's.
the one who was being said.
Let me go to Rick. Go on.
It's the same. What Nick was saying about I want his friend to back him. I agree with that, but it don't. 29 of you is needed to go and back your friend in that situation. Like
It is.
No,
There's
it's
police.
not.
There's
No,
normal
bullshit. And you keep saying yeah,
And
but
they
they're
didn't
15.
do
Yeah,
nothing.
15.
Sorry.
15-year-olds are big guys right now. It don't take 29 of them to take a policeman and a policewoman off one guy.
And that's all they did.
Well, one thing I do want to say, guys, as well. I need to kind of touch on this whole 30 youths. I've watched the video. I did
the
not
one
see
30,
30 youths
Exactly, man.
attacking a police officer. There may have been 9 or 10 involved in the actual incident, from what I've seen. Others, obviously, with phones and around. But it's just madness the way the media can kind of blow things out of proportion
And to
when
be clear,
there are certain people involved.
They didn't attack. They just pulled the officer off of their friend.
That's it.
I'm in agreement with that.
If that's the
I
case,
agree.
And that's all he did.
I agree with that. I don't think there was an attack, but I wanna flip it now. Yeah, say it's one youth, one man, doesn't matter nationality or race, and there's 29 police officers on this guy. Yeah, we will be up in arms saying, why is there so many police officers on one person? Yeah, but because it happens doesn't make it right. And what I'm saying is, like Rick said, it didn't take 29 of them. It didn't take 29 of them.
There weren't 29. That's part of the point. No, it doesn't. Listen, I need to go to the comments. Right, I've got Latoya here saying, whether the friend is in the right or wrong, I personally don't want my son putting himself in situations that doesn't concern him.
Exactly.
And if
I agree,
it's
but-
my son, I think I should be the one defending him rightly the correct way instead of his friends. He should call me or come to me if he sees the situation escalating.
not the way
The
it
one thing I
works.
would say, Latoya, on
Not
that
that
one,
situation.
yeah, it's not always. Yeah, although that in an ideal world that would be great. A couple more I want to read out. Is, are we on YouTube? Yes, the video will be available on YouTube after. Unfortunately, we can't get a stream which is live on Facebook and YouTube. This is our platform, and we are kind of sticking with you guys at the moment. Right, Pam Poodle has said, tuned in for the first time. Big up yourself.
Big up.
Like the first time.
Tell a friend, Pam. Tell a
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Big up cousin Corey.
She's a Grown Arse Men virgin, guys. Listen, let's move on. Right, Shireen has said 30 children, 2 police officers who thought the child had a knife but did not request backup. They went straight into a situation where they were a lesser majority, but normally one black man
they fucked up.
stop and search requires 2 cars and a van. Something was not right. Shireen, big up yourself on that one.
Big
for real.
up, Sheree.
I do agree with that.
I agree with what you're saying. At the end of the day, they've gone into the situation. But let's face it, they've gone to pick up this one child. They are not expecting
But they
12
could
kids
have
to
called for
turn.
backup.
I'm
Before
speaking.
putting them on the... Sorry. All right.
They're not expecting 12 children to rush them and pull them off of a youth. Whether they were mishandling that child or not, they are not expecting that to happen. They're expecting to pick up this child and go about their business.
And this is the thing: we can't have it both our own way. We can't say, all right, in one breath, oh, do you know what, the police they use excessive force and it takes 5, 6, 10 of them, however much many of them to restrain one person or 2 children, and then turn around and say, well, they didn't call backup. There was 2 of them. They're going to get a child. That's enough. They don't need to request backup.
There's a few people saying they haven't seen the video. If someone could actually post the video in the
I'll post it after.
in,
We'll
in
post
the,
it in
in
the
the
Grown
links,
Arse
that
Men
would be
group
great.
afterwards.
Appreciate that. Right, couple more comments that I do want to read out, and then I'll go back to you guys. I'll go to
Post
Lick
it in
after.
the break, sorry.
All right, cool. London Lawrence has said, I think there's 2 issues here. We need to teach our children how to interact with the police, knowing the law and how to deal with peer pressure,
Pick
etc.
yourself up.
The other is we are in a time... Sorry, you have to bear with me because sometimes I've got to press a little button and find where I was, yeah? We are in a time where we need to stand up for ourselves, and if it was 5 police officers doing that, it would have been a different story.
Agreed.
They target our children and they need to know how to deal with our youth better than they have been. I don't condone it, but maybe it will make the police learn how to address and interact with us like young children. The media do blow things up. Right, one thing I do want to state, just before I let someone comment, and then I'll go to whoever kind of really wants the mic on this one. I think the police have an issue with dealing with children. I think the police have an issue with dealing with black people and black children. But I don't want to make this necessarily a black issue. This was an issue with children from school who happen to be black. Yeah, and we have to kind of keep that in perspective. I don't want it to kind of be looked at as, you know what, the police are just targeting that person. It was said, and again, we're just going off of hearsay, that there was an arranged fight and apparently the guy had a knife on him. Who wants to take the mic on this one?
Yeah, I think we can't say. Listen, we can only speak what we've seen, and everybody, whoever's seen the video, can see that the majority of children in that video happen to be black. Yes, there are white people.
They were all black.
Oh,
No, I'll be real. No, and you know what I'm saying? And I don't say that as a dig to black people at all. I'm just saying I studied the video because I wanted to look and see if there were any other races. Like I said, it just happened to all be black children.
Exactly. I think what the issue is that the police need to find a way to integrate with the local community. And I think that is the overriding issue here, because it's a learned behaviour. Like, I've grown up hearing my dad saying, boy, I don't really trust the police too. He ain't like, fuck the police like G, but it's something that it's taught through your generations. Do you know what I mean? And we need to learn, and likewise the police need to learn how to integrate with the local community. Otherwise, these things are going to continue to happen.
I think the police have made massive strides, to be honest, in kind of bridging that gap. I remember when I was younger, like we used to call them bacon and all these like kind of things.
Trend time.
Exactly. Pigs, like, all that stuff. But I think they've made massive strides in order to kind of close that gap. Even with the CSOs, the community support officers, like they kind of try to make ethnic ones go in ethnic areas to kind of bridge that gap.
No, but you know what it is? No, but the thing is...
No, but it's a relation thing. Like they're trying. Like, so it isn't. I'm saying that what I'm saying is that the gap isn't as big as what it once was. Okay. It is getting smaller.
Yeah, I hear that, but they need to try harder. Like, the thing is, you need to understand, like, the police, in general, they went there, they started picking on one guy. The guy that they arrested wasn't even the same guy that they got in the first place. It's just that he was one of the guys that was pulling him off of his friend. Now, my problem with that is that I don't think the kids did anything wrong. They pulled him off. They didn't attack him. They weren't trying to beat him up. I'm sure if they had not, they would have stabbed him. It wouldn't have been no problem. They could have got away with it. There was enough of them. One of them could have done a quick little stab. And they wouldn't
get away with it.
Okay, well, at the end of the day, is that what I'm saying? Because there's so many people. No, because there's so many people there. It's like there's strength in numbers, and the fact is they weren't trying to be physical like that. All they were trying to do was get the police off of their friend. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now the thing is that I agree that you can't always follow your friends till the ends of the earth, and you can't do wrong things for your friends. But at the same time, it's that you have to make a stand at some point or another. And I think that what they did was right.
You said that they didn't do nothing wrong. Yeah?
I don't believe they did.
You, as people, it's self-defense in whose part?
Self-defense on the boy that they arrested.
Self-defense is it's all in the word. self-defense.
They were gripsing up the boy on the car. His friends were trying to protect him. It's all self-defense.
I'll leave you
to me.
with the wording, but at the end of the day, the wrongdoing is in the fact that they put their hand on officers of the law who are there to protect.
But this is what I'm saying. But these aren't officers to protect. This is what I'm saying. You're talking like police are good. You're talking like police are, they're all perfect. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are some nice officers. I agree with that. But what I'm saying to you is that they're corrupt by general, and the way in which they deal with us. And I am talking about black people. They deal with us wrong.
I agree.
And
with
this is
that.
my point. So the problem being is that you can't then deal with them, because if they're going to be rude and aggressive towards you, then what are you supposed to do? Just sit there and take it? Okay, all right, officer, because you're an officer of the law.
Can I say?
Sorry, I haven't seen the video either, but do we know that they initially started aggressively to the kids? Because we don't know how it escalated.
Listen, a stop and search is aggressive. It's passive aggressive.
Right, listen. You're generalizing. What I'm saying is, in that situation, what did the police officers approach the kids aggressively?
He was on the
Right,
bonnet
no,
of
no,
the
no,
car.
no. But what I'm saying is that how they started?
I don't know.
Right. What we're saying, what we've seen is an escalation. We don't know how it started.
Fair enough.
So what I'm saying is, generally, kids today they don't respect police officers, especially that age. They don't care. At the end of the day, it's just a dude wearing a uniform. So when they were approached, we don't know what their retaliation to that was, and we don't know why it escalated.
There's 2 grown-ups, 1 child, and the child pinned on the car, handcuffed. I don't care.
It's not one child. It's not one child.
He was
It's one child that they wanted. It's not one child that.
All right, I need to take some of the comments. We're getting so many comments, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And apologies if I can't keep up all the time. It is what it is. Right, Sarah has said, nah, the policeman held him for too long. The crowd were clearly concerned that he couldn't breathe, panicked and jumped on him, I believe, with every intent to save their friend's life.
All right. Big up, I've got nothing to
Yeah, and you know what? The one thing I will say from watching the video and studying it as much as I did was you could clearly hear in the background saying, "Get off him, leave him alone." Yeah, and that's when they were dragging him. Yeah, the story that actually said that they were stomped. That was the Sun actually said. Let's put it out there.
You can't beat the Sun though, man.
No, but people do. So this is why we have to address it. The Sun put out there and said that they were stomped on, and that these 30 aggressive people. Like I said, there was not 30 aggressive people. It was a lower number than that, and it wasn't accurate.
Can I say,
Nick?
just the word in aggressive, yeah? That always seems to follow black people.
Yeah.
Subliminals.
I'm not going to
It's
deny
like the moment the media are about to write a story and it's about black people, it's instantly aggressive.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Oh, sorry, go on.
Do you know what? For me, I personally would like to focus on the mentality of the children. Like, it was always going to be sensationalized in the press because they use any chance they can get to sensationalize things when it comes to the local youth. Do you know what I mean? But G saying, you know what, he thinks they're right and they didn't do anything wrong. But where does it stop? Like, all right, if 15 children tomorrow think, you know what, they see the police and they're not doing something right, they're gonna go and beat them up now. But they literally beat them up. No, hold on. Where does it stop? Because you're saying it's all right for them to go and put their hands on the police and restrain them and take them away from that situation. Hold on, because that's what they did. So where does it stop then? Because
when does it come wrong?
what exactly? When does it become wrong? And when do you finally say to that child, you know what? It's at that stage where you shouldn't be putting your hands on it.
It's when the police change. It's nothing to do with the children. You're talking about the children. You're sitting there talking about. You're sitting there talking about the children. You need to understand is that this is a build-up of the police treating us a certain way over a length of period of time. Mm-hmm. So how we react to this is a reaction to something that's an action that's already been taken place against us. So that's why we can't do anything. We can't stop it. We can't turn around and say, okay, well, let's just sit there because we've taken it, and then all that's happened is they bulldozed us into a position where we are now having to be aggressive.
Right.
I actually agree with G to an extent on that.
One of the things in one of the comments, as he said, and this is from Nats L, he says, we don't need a relationship with them. You call them when needed to do their job. Big up yourself on that. But you know, I'm gonna. As much as that is funny to me, I think that is a little bit naive, and it obviously does need to be addressed.
Can I just on the back of Darren's comments to G, or Darren's question to G? I think I guess the key point is how we're viewing these kids. If you're viewing them as troublemakers, then you would kind of go down your route of the escalation. For me, I view them as revolutionaries, almost. Which is why I applaud them so much, because they're doing something which no one in our generation or the previous generation has really had the guts to do.
Are we talking about the same topic in terms? So explain a little bit further, and then I'm going to let Dwayne expand on it as well about what these kids are doing to be, revolutionaries. Yeah.
Because they're not accepting the system that we have all accepted which is for the last how many years.
Is that conscious? Or were they just defending their friend?
Because this wasn't an instinctive where as soon as he went down, they all jumped on him. This wasn't a troublesome behaviour. They waited, they pleaded, they tried to negotiate, and it didn't work, and then they took matters into their own hands.
Dwayne.
Right. Now, that's what I want to touch on when Jeffrey spoke about it wasn't wrong and they're fighting the cause. Now, I'm all for fighting the cause, innit? But I don't think it's down for our children to be fighting that cause. I said, if anyone's going to fight, let me... Sorry. If anyone's going to fight the cause, it is down to us as adults to fight that cause, yeah, and organise it properly so that no one's putting themselves in that position. We can't leave it to our children to fight a cause that we should be fighting. I totally understand what Nick is saying. It does need to be at some extent fault, but at the same time, children are not in a position. Like Farrakhan said, yeah, they are fearless, yeah, and they need someone to lead them, yeah. We are not that generation where we're not fearless. We worry about the consequences and so forth. They don't. And whilst that is a very strong quality to have in someone, it is useless if nobody is leading them.
But they don't have a leader.
So then it's no good.
So then what should they do?
Exactly. What should you do? You're supposed to sit there and take it.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
No, but you lot, allowing them, calling them revolutionary and allowing them that power, like Darren said, where will it end? So if you give them that power where they think they can go that far, as kids, they're only going to keep pushing those boundaries, and before you know it, those that seem revolutionary and protecting friends will then be doing badness and thinking no, it's fine because now they've got no boundaries.
Parents are supposed to teach them boundaries, not the police.
That's the same mentality that had people thinking Nelson Mandela was a terrorist. So because of a revolutionary.
All right, guys, I'm gonna pull this thing up because I think we're taking it there in terms of going a little bit left with the situation. We're talking about this incident and from a guy basically who was effectively resisting arrest. I think we have to put the facts out there. He was resisting arrest. His friends backed it. And really and truly, I just don't see how we can condone that. I think giving them the label revolutionaries, I just think is so wrong. But listen, we're going to come back to that. Let me just take a few from the stream. All right. I'd like to say your piece. You try to justify that. All right. Right. Shema said, I agree with G. For the first time, it's their job to protect and serve. It's our job to protect ourselves. Relations with law enforcement has history, especially for people of color. We are in a time when we have to police the police. If the police were trustworthy, then they would be trusted. Young black men are seeing what is happening to them worldwide at the hands of those who are allegedly there to them. Nick, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to let you comment. I'm going to go to D after. Go for it.
Almost just to follow on from what Shem said, I think what we need to remember as well, just a few years ago, the police, the independent, the IPCC, whatever they're called, the Independent Police Commissioning Committee, they found the police to be institutionally racist. Mm-hmm. Like, so we can't assume that everything that it is just these kids. We like what said, we didn't see the build up to it, but it's a clear institution, and like we were saying in that program like a couple of weeks ago, like where the system is almost built up, and I'm conscious not to kind of make it too racial, but this one point is, we have to acknowledge that there may be factors that forced kids to act in this kind of way.
Yeah, man, extreme circumstances, man. You're free.
Yo, listen, I'm me personally, I'm very pro black. Yeah, we're not trying to make it
not anti-white,
and I'm not anti-white now. Yeah. I'm pro black. Yeah, and I think it's very important. However, you set a very dangerous precedent if you are allowing children to take matters into their own hands when it comes to the police. Now, we should be schooling our children how to navigate the police, right? How to communicate them when they are pulled up, when they are wrongly stopped and searched. Yeah, knowing your rights, knowing exactly what they can do and what they can't do. Yes. Yeah, if you know that, you don't need to put your hands on them. You do not need to put your hands on them. And allowing a child, remember these are children. They're not adults, you know. These are children. If a child thinks that a child can do something, he's going to push the boundary. Now, remember, not all children out there are good, and not all children out there had a great upbringing. Yeah. So if they feel that, you know what, we can put our hands on the police, and we can stop the police from pulling us up, and we can stop the police from doing certain things, they're going to do that, and then they're going to use it for their own benefit and not just for the cause.
And you know, and I applaud that. I can't clap because I'm holding the camera, but. You know what? I do applaud what you're saying, but I want to give you one question just on the back of what you said.
Yeah.
If it was your child in that situation, your child is now the person who is said to be holding this knife.
Yeah.
The police approach your child with the teaching and guidance that you've given him. How would you have expected him to act in that situation?
Well, I'm expecting him to,
or her, excuse me.
Him or her. Yeah. I'm expecting him not to try not to buy, because obviously that's what they do. We know that they look for a retaliation from the youth. That's the first thing they do in order to cart them away and say, you know what, you're resisting arrest, blah blah blah. So my first thing would be to teach my child, do not retaliate. Know your stuff. Know your rights. If they step outside of the boundary, then you can communicate and articulate yourself to say, that is not acceptable. I'm not accepting that, and I know my rights, and that's it. There is, unfortunately.
What rights, sir?
Unfortunately, what do you mean? What rights?
What rights would they have? If the child's got a knife on them, they get stopped by the police. What are they going to say?
No. But the question was said to have a knife. If he actually
because we don't know whether they did or not. We don't know.
If he has a knife on him, then
the police suspect your child of having a knife. They pull your child over because they believe that he's got a knife. What is your child really going to say? No matter what training you give them.
No. That's incorrect. And this is where we fall. We fall down because we feel like we cannot say what needs to be said to the police. If the police are not carrying out their duties in the way that they are meant to do legally.
Give me an example. I need what would you I need to, because it's too vague what you're saying.
All right, for instance, a stop and search. There are certain parameters which the police have to abide by. There are certain laws which the police have to abide by when carrying out a stop and search. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but that much is true, isn't it? So if they're not carrying out a stop and search legally, and you know your rights, then you can tell them that isn't the case. Yeah. If things go further, then what you have to do. It's not always about putting your hands on the police. It's not always about that.
Listen, I'm a total agree with Darren, and we have seen many videos where someone has been stopped and the police are on them and they're looking to make a scene out of it, and they have known their rights to the top of the road, mate, and they cannot do anything. It gets to the point where the person that has been stopped is in somewhat ways mocking the police now because they know they're right, and the police don't know how to respond when you know what they're supposed to be doing, because more time they stop and search you, and they don't want to do paperwork. So the moment you start talking about what they need to do, they don't want no part of that anymore, and they will back right down once you've done that. Like, for example, if you don't want to give your name when you're stopping search, you don't have to give your name, and they can't do nothing about that. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know their rights, and that's why when they stop and search people, they get frustrated and they react wrong.
I think that adds on to obviously what Darren said, but it's so funny, Dwayne, because it's almost like you're talking from experience. G.
Sorry, G, do you mind?
Go.
Sorry, bro. I just want to jump on what Dwayne just said. So, we was once in a situation.
Experience.
We was once in a situation where the police stopped.
True story, guys.
How long ago was this, by the way?
True story. 10 years.
We was in our 20s. And the police stopped me and Dwayne. We didn't even stop us. We was parked up. Police came over to us. I tell you, this policeman, he was fuming.
So, tell them why the police came over. Tell them why.
I didn't want to do that.
Tell them why the police came over.
I'm not.
Why did the police come over?
Dwayne provoked the police in a way that made he antagonized them. They came over to the car and they started asking questions, but they didn't realize Dwayne knew his shit. When they started asking questions, you saw the look in his eye that said, "Shit, what have I done?" Like Dwayne started asking them. He started talking about numbers in books and shit. Like they don't know what hit them. And once they get them questions, once they realize that you know what you're talking about, they don't want it no more.
And you know what it is? I think that kind of echoes what Darren initially said and Dwayne followed up on. Knowledge is power, and a lot of people, just to say, guys, are bigging up Darren for some of the things that he said. A lot of thumbs up and big ups there. So I want to let you guys know that. G, what you saying?
To be honest with you, yeah, when it comes to the police, you lot talk like I'm talking.
Police.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm passionate about this topic. I'm passionate about this
Basically,
topic.
you travel, yeah? So
know
you've heard of a few people say police, yeah?
That sounds like a compliment.
Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah,
What I'm saying to you is that I am,
police.
you know what it is that the reason I am built, like the reason I am this way, I'm not just, the police, they're annoying me. No, they've stopped me on numerous occasions. Numerous times.
For all of us here.
No, dude, in 1 year I got stopped 85 times in 1 year. I'm not even lying to you.
What car did you have?
The car's irrelevant anymore. Ferrari.
Make your point.
Anyway, I agree with you. What you're saying does make sense, and I 100% know the law. But at the end of the day, should you be punished because you don't know? Because you don't know your right, should you be punished? Because at the end of the day, just because you don't know what articles to come out with, then does that mean
1,000% true. I
exactly.
totally
Should you
agree
be
with
punished?
you.
But
That's the
sometimes
point.
it's not even about, you don't need to come with articles. It's just about asking the right questions. Why exactly are you stopping? If they can't give you definitive answers to your questions, they can't be putting their hands on you if you've got nothing for them to be doing that for. Yes, if you've got a knife in your hand, yes, you can expect a policeman to put
You
their
sound
hand on you.
naive, man. Sorry, you sound naive, man. They can stop you for whatever they want, anytime they want.
Yes, stop me. Yes, put their hands on me is a different matter.
Alright, listen, Nick is itching to say something. Go on, Nick. Go on.
No, don't do that pressure on me, man. You make me get what I'm gonna say.
Right, I'm gonna take it to comments. Nick missed that bus. Right, Sarah has said that child should have been in the back of the car, not over the bonnet, being manhandled and choked. Nick was gonna say that, but you said it, Sarah.
Similar.
Equally agree with Darren that we should all know our rights because police do not always act within the law when interacting with you.
But we're supposed to respect them.
One more that I'll let Nick respond on as well. Jada Kush has said there are certain police officers that use their power and authority to stop and search young people, especially the black population. However, some of our young people have too much attitude, whether that be right or wrong, and this will aggravate the police officers. Knowing your rights is essential, and this can be picked up as a leaflet from your local stations or unknown. I don't think we as a generation have enough respect for the police, but there is a reason for that.
Exactly.
Right, listen,
Big up.
you know what, yeah? I would
Police.
honestly, I'd probably just give you a big hug right now because you've just really echoed everything that I was thinking in my mind. Nick, respond.
He looks very happy, by the way.
Go. That's my little sister that made that comment, so completely learned well. Now, all I was going to say earlier on is that I think there's a difference between being randomly stopped and searched than being stopped when you're in suspicion of having a knife on you. So I think knowing the law would work a bit differently. That's all I was going to say.
All right, well, listen. Oh, someone's actually, I've got a big up. Listen, when Jeffrey gets good, because he don't get them often, let's be real. Right, Shem has just said, I'm Team Banks today, and she's got the hands up thing, yeah? Hey, listen, he likes them comments there. Listen, he needs that. Right, a couple of more comments, and then we're going to have to wrap this one up because we've got another stream to do. Right, Nats L has said, G, do you know you can do them for harassment? Being stopped so often, all right? Yeah. And Danielle has said it's that game that they're getting paid and they need to build their quota or meet their quota. Excuse me. And G, you're on fire today. Oh, well. Like cool. Aisha has just said, G is being real. Yes. Hey, listen, G, big up yourself.
Big up, cheers.
Right, listen, I'm going to take the last comments up. I'm going to take the final wrapping up comments from the guys. Then we're going to have a 5-minute break and then we're going to start the next stream. I started off to my left, so I'm going to start to my right. Mr. D.
Bro, you caught me off guard. I would just say to people who have children, it's important. Like as a youth, I'm still like this now. I'm like fuck the police, man. I've always been like that. But having children now is different. I don't want my son to just be like fuck the police. I want my son to know his rights and be able to articulate himself when stopped by the police because he's a black youth and he's going to get stopped by the police, and being able to point out what they're doing wrong. If they then put their hands on him, then I can then say, do you know what, I can follow that. You know, I can pursue that and I can go against the state or whatever it is. But just teach your children knowledge is power.
And which I kind of echo, similar to what Darren said. I think having a son does change it a bit. I don't want my son, however, to be another hashtag, and that overrides any emotion that I think otherwise. So, as much as I want him to have a knowledge, I don't want him to fear any man, and that includes the police.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, yeah, man, Black Lives Matter. Fuck the police. and know your shit. That's the main thing. Know your shit. Because you know what? Out of everything you lot have said, genuinely, I can say that I agree with you. Knowledge is power, and the fact that if you know what you're talking about, then yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can only echo what's been said. Knowledge is power at the end of the day, and having children makes you understand that a lot more. Like, I've sat down and gone through video after video to understand the law a lot better, so I can pass that on to my children, and I would encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, pretty much what the guys have said. I don't want my son to be ending up in a body bag like Nick said, but at the same time, I don't want my son in madness that doesn't concern him. He needs to know it. He needs to know his stuff. He needs to know the right questions to ask, and he just needs to not be getting in trouble that will end up him being in trouble with me.
All right, cool. Well, for me, you five guys have spoken sense. It's not often that we get a full house in terms of speaking sense. So yeah, listen, I'm just gonna echo the same thing and just agree with the guys here, yeah. But guys, obviously, please share the video out when we're live as well. Share the video because we want to get more people involved.
Yeah, man, we need to get some love in it.
Jane, I'm especially upset that you haven't commented sooner because Jane is actually the mother of a police officer. She just wrote it here. They go out there to do their job just as much as everybody else, and I think that does need to be respected. And no one here is really saying
Jane,
that should be disrespected. But listen,
coming before Jane,
we're sorry about that. So listen, we've got to wrap up.
I think that's too late.
We've got to wrap up. I'll let Nick have the last word.
Sorry, I don't want to. No, I just want to. Come on, don't do that. I do want to say there are lots of good police officers, and they do. It is just a job at the end of the day, and we do take it personally. But it's obviously your colleagues don't represent you in the best light sometimes.
That's true.
It has an effect on us.
And vice versa,
yeah,
I think as well.
Yeah, yes, and same vice versa. And hold tight Evian because it's kept Dwayne quiet today.
Yeah.
Hold tight Evian.
Hey, shout out to Evian, yeah? Hey, Evian, call us.